touchdown in Honiara. The warm Pacific greeting contrasting with the power contest in the region.
Hello, I'm Linton Besser. Welcome to Media Watch. And tonight, Australia's Pacific Charm Offensive, the Prime Minister's bid to supplant the seductions of China with warm words of solidarity and fellowship.
The Pacific family values the fact that we are family and that we need to look after each other's interests.
Anthony Albanese might have suffered the odd diplomatic setback from selecting the wrong wardrobe to last-minute wobbles from Vanuatu about a $500 million Australian proposal for a security and economic partnership. But he also delivered good news to the people of the Pacific on that most urgent of issues, climate change.
Australia to contribute $100 million towards a new climate resilience fund.
This is more than a fund, though. It's a promise to Pacific communities.
Warming once more to his theme of common kinship.
Australia is a proud member of the Pacific family.
But hang on, was the Pacific Island press there to hear it? Ah, they were in prime position on the other side of the door. Yes, the warm bosom of family. As Solomon Islands journo Ronald Toyotona explained,
we asked to be part of the press conference, but then they said, oh no, this one is for the Australian journalists only.
The snub prompted much gnashing of teeth from the very people Albanese might have used to promote his message of friendship and common interest.
Australia blocks Pacific journalists, undermines media freedom.
And earned the PM a stinging rebuke from one of the leading voices for press freedom in the Pacific.
You cannot claim to be part of the Pacific family while silencing Pacific voices. You cannot talk about partnership while blocking our journalists from doing their jobs.
So why wasn't the region's media, bar a single Aussie who writes for a Pacific masthead, allowed into the room? One journalist, Stefan Armbruster, tried to get to the bottom of it and received a warm response.
Is there a reason why Pacific journalists can't go to your press conferences?
I've no idea what you're talking about, mate.
The PM didn't answer our questions either, but we did hear the complaints prompted great frustration among his minders because they believe that an Australian Prime Minister who routinely makes himself available to Australian journalists, who, by the way, pay substantial costs to tail him into the Pacific, owes little obligation to do likewise for their foreign counterparts, not even when Australia is seeking to play a leadership role in the region. And it's not the first time this has happened. In 2017, Papua New Guinea's media pack was barred from a joint press conference hosted by Malcolm Turnbull and his counterpart, Peter O'Neill. Last week's repeat episode has now cast a pall over the image of democratic beneficence Australia wishes to project.
When we have the Australian Prime Minister not treating us as a family, that's a big deal for us because family means connection.
Officials might only acknowledge it in whispers, but of course Albanese's traipse through the Pacific, tax dollars in tow, was all about cautioning our neighbours as to the beguiles of Beijing, whose leaders, it must be said, would not in a million years deign to hold a press conference in a modest little room in Honiara. But if Canberra, which already bankrolls billions of dollars worth of regional security and development assistance, wants to be seen as a force for good in the Pacific, it might want to hold the door open just a beat or two longer. And now, if you wanted some really sharp analysis of the PM's dalliances abroad, well, have we got a podcast for you.
Anthony Albanese has been in the global spotlight the past few days, making headlines with his high-profile diplomatic trip across the Pacific.
The Prime Minister's foreign affairs agenda has been the focus of a new series from American podcaster QP, the first episode titled The Inspiring Rise of Australia's New PM, though it has struggled a little with his name.
What experiences shaped Anthony Albanese? Anthony Albanese's biography, Albanese's.
And despite a little fumble on the cost of Albanese's Nauru resettlement deal,
the cost could balloon to a staggering $2.05 over 30 years.
It did make bold promises.
This podcast delivers insights you won't find anywhere else. The detailed biographical episodes paint a complete picture of Albanese's journey.
Which, I'm sorry to say, was bunkum. In fact, the podcast was such a stinker, we were curious to see what else this mob had done. Hollywood-based QP Daily, an abbreviation of Quiet Please, churns out podcasts exploring every imaginable topic, from a 10-episode series on the future Mr. Taylor Swift and bird songs for cats, to carbon-plated running shoes and, well, personality coaching. There's also this rather pertinent podcast about the media.
In a media environment flooded with low-quality and deliberately misleading content, finding news sources you can really trust poses profound challenges. Join me as we explore the importance of credible journalism.
Thanks, but I'd rather listen to a leaf blower at dawn on a Sunday. Because this podcast, titled The Importance of Reliable News, like its QP stablemates, is written, voiced and published by one of those computers we're learning to loathe, and brought to life by a company called Inception Point AI, which has done away with expensive Homo sapiens in preference for these.
Name's Lenny.
I'm Vivian Steele.
Vanessa Clark here.
I'm Ollie Bennett.
And this American outfit, with a catalogue of 5,000 podcast titles, published no fewer than 13,000 episodes last month, an output so staggering it simply cannot be checked by humans. But as the company makes clear, that isn't the point anyway. Quoting one online entrepreneur,
"If you can master the art of storytelling with AI, you're going to make a lot of money."
And make no mistake, its ambition is no more noble than that.
The company is able to produce each episode for $1 or less and attach programmatic advertising to it. This generally means that if about 20 people listen to that episode, the company made a profit.
And how many people are listening? The company claims 10 million downloads in the past 2 years, which sounds like an awful lot of bleeding ears to me. Take this series, Sydney History, Legends and Myths, which begins with great promise.
The podcast that peels back the layers of this iconic metropolis like never before. We're bringing you a fresh, intimate perspective that goes far beyond tourist guides.
But by episode 3, the algorithm confused Sydney the city with another Sydney entirely.
Sydney Sweeney has found herself at the epicenter of a major brand storm this past week.
A spokesperson for Inception Point AI told us its latest podcasts had smoothed out many of these problems and said,
We ourselves describe some of our content as our kindergarten drawing stage. Even today, we don't claim that everything we make is without flaws. If a mistake is reported to us on a specific show, we update it or take it down.
The steady encroachment of AI seems inevitable, even in Sydney. The real Sydney, I mean.
Find out how you can win some big cash on CADA. And what I can say is it has something to do with race. I'm pretty excited about this one. You're on CADA.
No, not human either. Although at the time, CADA's owner, ARN, didn't bother telling anyone. Now, it seems ARN is considering another foray into expanding its use of AI, according to this startling revelation in The Australian. With the Oz getting its hands on a survey distributed to Queensland listeners of ARN's 91.1 Hot FM, which asked whether they might feel betrayed if an artificial voice was used and not disclosed. ARN assured us, however, not a thing should be read into what it says was a wider survey that was
simply part of ARN's regular research to better understand our audiences. ARN has no intention of replacing human presenters with AI.
Perish the thought. In researching this and listening to so much AI audio sludge, I can't begin to describe how unsettling it was. A soundscape devoid of the most basic human identity and intelligence. And if that's the future, an audio washing machine of nonsense ideas and synthesised realities, we really are in more trouble than perhaps we know. And now, as 2025 winds down and we turn our minds to summer destinations, the internet's travel influencers are urging us to rub shoulders with one of the world's most awful regimes.
This is your sign to book that lad's trip to Afghanistan.
There goes the Taliban, they're swallowing. I want to join them. Look how gangster that is.
With surprising revelations thanks to the shoe leather of these gonzo influencers.
Women are actually out in the streets. The whole they don't have rights thing here, we've just learned that they have more rights than men.
So glad that's cleared up. And why is Afghanistan all the rage? Because, of course, the Taliban is tired of bad press. So, in a bid for a touch more sympathy and a few more tourist dollars, Kabul has been rolling out its Bakara rug to the social media maestros of the West.
Taliban marks 4 years in power by luring young female influencers to boost tourism.
A wonderful opportunity to be internet trendy with your internet friends, while happily disseminating the Taliban's joyous tidings.
Laughter, smiles, joy. For those travellers who value beautiful people and beautiful landscapes, there's truly no better place in the world.
Amongst the in-crowd, Australian blogger Chloe Baradinsky,
The day with us in Kabul, Afghanistan.
who regaled her followers with charming encounters like these.
Like, should we take a group pic? And then my God was like, not tonight, Chloe. And that's when I realised, like, that man is part of the Taliban because you can't take photos with them.
And took them with her to Bandamere National Park, where the intensely blue, mineral-rich lakes are, of course, set aside for men's enjoyment.
That's close to the water women are allowed to get.
And occasionally applying the very makeup local women are themselves denied. Because operating a beauty salon is so serious an offence, it's punishable by imprisonment, with women also barred from other high crimes like attending school, taking a job, or even speaking in public, because of course a woman's voice is deemed an instrument of vice. Chloe Baradinsky gave a nod to this little inconvenience.
That just goes to show that, 5 days here, imagine what it's like if you live here as a female.
But in a country that condones the ritualised humiliation and assault of women, like this dispensation of justice in 2022, Chloe's whispered confession was grossly insufficient to the task, and her posts attracted the inevitable backlash.
Aussie influencer slammed over holiday to Afghanistan.
For her part, Chloe Baradinsky denied she'd been paid by the Taliban. It turns out, however, her travel company forgave her 1/5 of the costs of her accommodation and meals and permits and guides, a discount worth some $600. A nice little hustle, you might think, but for the fact that her failure to disclose it might have contravened Australian consumer law. Chloe Baradinsky told Media Watch,
The tour company offered what was a relatively small discount on their package, which my tour guides more than earned back in cash tips. Visiting Afghanistan as part of a 2-month trip wasn't any type of sponsored content or whatever you guys call it. It was just me living my life, travelling where I choose, telling the stories I want to tell.
But like it or not, once you start earning money producing these travel diaries, you've moved into a new realm with new responsibilities, like confronting unpalatable truths in service to your audience, which some among this generation of storytellers have thoroughly failed to grasp. Last night, one human rights advocate put it like this to 10 News Plus.
It is just like a punch to the face of the woman in Afghanistan. We don't care about you. We don't care that your right has been erased. We don't care that your presence should not be seen anymore.
One American bro has even sought to exploit the signature horror of Islamic terrorism.
We have one message for America.
Welcome to Afghanistan.
Yes, anything for clicks. Or what about this apparently light-hearted moment?
We're witnessing a young Talib Mujahideen class. This is crazy. And the Sheikh is about to lead them all.
Which prompted astonishment from British presenter Piers Morgan.
And this is the root of the problem with you, Arab, isn't it? Is it to you? It's all a bit of fun content.
What am I supposed to do?
That's one thing. But you don't. Arab. There ain't no money in you being a proper journalist. The money comes from you laughing.
So messed up that you're training these kids.
The money is just, isn't this funny?
Hey,
isn't this funny?
Taliban in front of me. Hey guys, come on.
What was he supposed to do? Afghanistan-born Australian broadcaster Yalda Hakim helped to explain it for him.
I went to a madrasa where children were being radicalised. I took them on and I was thrown out of there. You do have to take those risks and ask the questions and confront them rather than say, how can I ask these questions in front of these Taliban with guns?
Which is precisely why Yalda Hakim and other real reporters are not on the Taliban's invite list. There is, of course, a place for travel stories, even from hostile destinations like Afghanistan. But to gloss over the hideousness in a puerile bid for internet fame and fortune is to potentially send people into harm's way and is to most certainly burnish a barbaric and medieval regime. And that's all from us tonight. Be sure to check us out on ABC iView, as well as YouTube, Facebook and X. You can find full statements on our website, and don't forget to send us your tips. I'll see you next week.